The Wilson Ranch lay sprawled across a patch of dry land, its fences worn but sturdy, its fields cracked by a summer sun that refused to relent. Jack Wilson had inherited the ranch from his father, along with the heavy weight of expectations and unspoken dreams. He was a man of few words, known in town as hard-working and reserved. A man whose life was tethered to the land he cared for. But beneath his quiet demeanor was a secret sorrow. Jack and his wife, Grace, had tried for years to start a family, yet the doctor's words were clear. Jack was infertile. The news had been a crushing blow, one that forced Jack to confront a future that felt emptier than the vast plains around him. On a Friday evening, seeking a break from the grinding routine of ranch life, Jack made his way to the town's small saloon. The air was thick with the smell of tobacco and wood smoke, punctuated by the soft murmur of conversations and the clink of glasses. A poker game was in progress, and Jack, never one for games, found himself drawn to the table. At the table sat Clara, a young woman just shy of her 18th birthday, her sharp eyes scanning the cards with a confidence that belied her years. Clara had recently moved to the town with her aunt after the loss of her parents, determined to carve out a new life in a place that held little promise but offered a fresh start. Jack admired her spirit. Even as the game became a battle of wits, bets were placed, chips slid across the table, and the tension mounted. When Jack finally lost a hand, he was surprised to hear Clara offer a different kind of wager, a proposal to work on his ranch in exchange for the pot. The room fell silent. Jack hesitated. Pride and curiosity warred inside him. Finally, he nodded, sealing an unexpected agreement that neither fully understood yet. What started as a game of chance was about to become something much more, a beginning neither Jack nor Clara had anticipated. The morning sun rose over the Wilson Ranch with a gentle golden light, spilling across the cracked earth and the worn fences that marked the boundaries of Jack's world. Clara arrived early, a small bundle of energy wrapped in worn clothes and determination. She carried a satchel filled with sturdy boots, gloves, and the quiet hope of someone ready to prove herself. Jack watched her from the porch of his modest farmhouse. His expression unreadable but curious. The poker game still lingered in his mind, the wager that had brought this young girl to his doorstep. A strange twist of fate neither of them could have foreseen. Morning, Mr. Wilson, Clara greeted, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her chest. Jack nodded. Morning, Clara. Ready to get to work? Clara smiled. More than ready. The ranch was a world unto itself, dusty and demanding, requiring strength and patience. Jack led Clara to the stables first, showing her how to feed the horses, muck the stalls, and mend broken fences. His instructions were brief but clear, his movements practiced and efficient. At first, Clara struggled with the weight of the work and the unforgiving sun. She was young, and the life of a ranch hand was no easy task, but with each passing hour, she grew stronger, learning the rhythms of the land and the needs of its creatures. Jack observed quietly, noting her determination. In the past, he had worked alongside men who saw the ranch as a simple job, a paycheck at the end of the day. Clara was different. She worked not out of obligation but out of hope. As the days turned into weeks, the pair developed a routine. Mornings began before dawn, and evenings ended with the soft glow of fireflies and the distant call of coyotes. Jack found himself talking more than he had in years, sharing stories of the ranch's history and the lessons his father had taught him. Clara listened intently, her eyes bright with admiration. She told Jack about her own past, the loss of her parents, the move to this quiet town, and her dreams of finding a place where she belonged. Their connection was quiet and unspoken, built on shared labor and mutual respect. One evening, as they sat by the fire pit, Jack looked at Clara and said, "You're not just helping me with the ranch, Clara. You're giving me a reason to believe things can change." Clara smiled softly, her heart warmed by the trust she saw in his eyes. The ranch, once a place of loneliness and loss, was beginning to feel like home. The Wilson Ranch was transforming not just under Clara's hands but in the quiet changes that stirred between her and Jack. The rhythm of their days became a steady drumbeat of chores, lessons, and small moments that deepened their connection. Each morning, Clara rose with the sun, the cool air filling her lungs as she stepped into the vast expanse of the ranch. Jack was already outside, tending to the cattle or repairing a fence. His movements were deliberate, shaped by years of experience, but there was a gentleness in the way he guided her through the demanding work. It wasn't long before Clara's hands grew calloused, her muscles firmed by the labor, and her spirit brightened by purpose. She learned to ride horses, to read the signs of the weather, and to listen to the land language that Jack spoke fluently. One afternoon, as they worked side by side, fixing a broken gate, Clara asked, "Why did you agree to my wager that night? Most men wouldn't." Jack paused, wiping sweat from his brow. "I'm not most men," he said quietly. "And maybe I saw something in you, something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope." Clara smiled, understanding the weight of his words. They were both searching for something more than survival. They wanted a life filled with meaning. As the days passed, the townsfolk began to notice the change. The ranch was thriving again. The fences mended, the cattle healthier. Clara's presence was no longer a mystery but a welcomed part of the community. Yet, beneath the surface, Jack struggled with his secret. The knowledge of his infertility weighed heavily on him, a shadow he kept carefully hidden. He feared what it meant for his future and for any hope of family. One evening, after the work was done and the fire burned low, Clara looked up at Jack. "Do you ever think about what comes next?" she asked softly. Jack met her gaze, the flickering firelight reflecting in his eyes. "Every day, but for now, I'm focused on the here and now, on making this place something worth staying for." Clara nodded, a quiet understanding passing. Between them, their journey was far from over. But the bonds they forged in hard work and quiet moments had become a foundation stronger than either expected. The Wilson Ranch had grown stronger with each passing season, but so had the weight on Jack's shoulders. Though Clara's presence brought light and purpose to his days, the secret he carried, the truth of his infertility, remained a quiet shadow he struggled to share. One cool evening, as the sun dipped low behind the hills, Jack sat on the porch, staring out at the golden fields. Clara joined him, carrying 2 cups of steaming tea. She handed one to him and settled beside him in comfortable silence. After a moment, Clara spoke gently. "Jack, you don't have to carry everything alone." He looked at her, the vulnerability in his eyes, raw and honest. "It's not easy to talk about. Something I've held inside for so long." Clara nodded, her voice steady. "I know loss isn't always just about people. Sometimes it's about dreams we can't have. But that doesn't mean there's no hope left." Jack sighed, feeling the weight begin to lift. For the first time, he shared the truth, his diagnosis, the years of disappointment, and the fear that the Wilson name might end with him. Clara listened without interruption, her heart aching for the man who had given so much to a land that had taken so much in return. When he finished, Clara reached out and placed her hand over his. "Maybe family isn't only about blood, Jack. Sometimes it's about who stands by you when things get hard." Her words planted a seed of hope that began to grow within him. In the days that followed, Jack and Clara talked more openly, their friendship deepening into something rare and precious. They planned new projects on the ranch, imagining a future that could be shaped by love and trust, not just fate. The town watched with quiet admiration as the once lonely rancher and the spirited young woman built a life together. One marked by resilience and newfound joy. Though challenges remained, Jack realized that the unexpected journey that began with a simple poker game had opened a door to a future brighter than he had dared to dream. Spring had come to the Wilson Ranch, bringing with it the promise of growth and renewal. The fields were green once again, the cattle strong and healthy, and the air filled with the scent of blooming wildflowers. For the first time in years, Jack felt a peace settle over the land and within his heart. Clara stood beside him on the porch one morning, watching the sun rise over the hills. The journey they had shared felt like a lifetime, yet the future stretched wide and open before them. "Jack," she said softly, "we've come a long way since that night in the saloon." He smiled, the lines of worry around his eyes softened by hope. "We have. And I'm grateful for every step." Their bond had grown into something deeper than friendship, and unspoken understanding and respect that neither had expected but both treasured. One afternoon, as they worked together mending a fence, Jack paused and looked at Clara. "You've given me more than I ever thought possible. Family isn't just about blood, like you said. It's about who stands with you through everything." Clara nodded, her eyes shining. "And I'm here to stay." That evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with shades of amber and rose, the townsfolk gathered at the ranch. There was laughter, music, and stories shared around a fire, celebrating not just the ranch's revival but the strength found in new beginnings. Jack watched Clara dance with the children of the town, her laughter ringing clear and bright. The silence that once filled his life was replaced by a symphony of connection and hope. Though the road ahead was uncertain, Jack no longer feared it. He had learned that life's greatest gifts often come from unexpected places, and that family is made in the heart. The Wilson Ranch stood strong, a testament to resilience, courage, and the power of an unexpected journey that began with a simple game of poker and led to everything.